Welcome back to my channel. I apologize in advance for my appearance. I'm usually a lot more put together for my sit down videos, but hashtag real life, I was at two of my students' birthday parties earlier and I was sitting in the hot sun, I was getting splashed, I was getting soaking wet hugs, so this is as good as it's gonna get. So I officially have 3 days left of school and they are early dismissal days, so what that means is our students will leave 2 hours earlier than normal. So I thought this would be the perfect time to sit down and record a video for you guys all about end of the year activities and games, things that you can do with your class to keep them engaged until the very last day. I know at my school, grades are finalized about a week before the last day, so I like to do a lot of activities that don't require a lot of paper, don't require a lot of prep for the last week of school. And let's face it, at this point of the year, we're all kind of burnt out and just mentally done with the school year. I believe that when your students have worked hard all school year, they deserve to do fun, like non-educational activities for the last week or two. Obviously, your school district may be different and you may not have that flexibility, but honestly, I see a lot of value in those games and activities that require teamwork and they help build social skills because those oftentimes get forgotten when we're so busy preparing for state and district assessments. So I'm gonna give you guys 10 end of the year activities you can do with your class that are low prep but high engagement. Number 1 is a summer countdown. Now there are different opinions on summer countdowns. I know some teachers don't like to use them because it encourages students to think that learning ends when the school year ends and then starts again when the school year starts, and obviously we know that that's not true. Plus, I know that some teachers don't like to use them because it makes their students upset at the end of the year. Now, while I understand all of those reasonings, I do like summer countdowns. I didn't do one my first year of teaching, but for the past 2 years I have, and I honestly like it. It's a way to celebrate my students' hard work that they've put in all school year. It gives them things to look forward to, and it honestly makes the last couple weeks of school fly by. There are tons of different ways you can do summer countdowns. If you have been watching my classroom vlogs, you guys know that I've been doing an ABC countdown. So we started 26 days before the last day of school, and each day goes with a different letter, and we do activities that go along with that letter. A lot of you have been asking me if I have my calendar in my TPT store, and the answer is no, I don't. All I did was use an editable calendar that's part of my lesson planning binder, and I just typed in the different letter days. So it was super simple to put together. However, I do plan this summer to put out some kind of freebie that you guys could use with tons of ideas for each different letter and an editable calendar you can use as well. I also have seen teachers do balloon popping countdowns, and I think that's a really cool idea as well. Basically, you would put a rolled up piece of paper in a balloon that has a fun activity. You tape up the balloons around your room or on a bulletin board. You pop a different one each day to help count down to the last day of school. I also have seen teachers do a student countdown. So each student gets featured as like a VIP for the day, and all of their classmates talk about what they love about that student. They may get special privileges like walking in the hallway with the teacher or eating lunch bunch with the teacher, and I love that idea. I love that each student gets like a special day just to them, and I love that it helps to maintain your classroom community until the end of the school year. Number 2 is shaving cream on the desks. This is a non-negotiable for me. I do this every single year, no matter what, partially because I remember doing it when I was a kid, probably in 2nd grade, and I loved it. It was my favorite activity the entire school year, and I want to help build those memories for my students too. Basically, you go to the store, you buy a bunch of cans of shaving cream, pour it all over their desk, and let them go to town. There are tons of ways to tie this to curriculum if that's something that your school requires. If your students have learned cursive writing, you can have them practice writing in cursive. You can practice spelling patterns. You could have them draw a response to a book. There's tons of options for you. Personally, I just let them have fun. I let them draw, I let them write, I let them go at it because a lot of them have never gotten to do that at home. I remember doing it like in the bathtub growing up and I thought it was so much fun, but some of my students have never had that opportunity before. I will say you are gonna need way more shaving cream than you think. I usually get 4 or 5 cans for my class of like 23, 24 students because it never fails that after they've sat there spreading it around for a while, it just ends up like disappearing. So I give them a couple squirts every like 10, 15 minutes. That way they have more shaving cream, but it's a great way to clean your desks. That's why I love it at the end of the school year. It gets your desk clean. I will tell you, you are gonna need to wipe them down with like a wet wipe afterwards because it leaves kind of like a residue, but it's fantastic for getting off any marker or crayons or pencil marks that you may have on your desk. desks. If you can think of it in advance, you also might want to tell your students to bring in a change of clothes because it never fails. There will be 1 or 2 students who get like covered in shaving cream. I don't even understand how it happens, but it does. And going along with that, yes, it is messy, but guys, your kids love it. I promise you they will be engaged. Make sure you set expectations ahead of time so your students know what is or is not appropriate, but I promise you they will love it. Number 3 is Minute to Win It games. These are my favorite activity for the very last day of school, partially because they don't require a lot of materials, and what they do require are pretty cheap. You could probably just throw it away afterwards if you wanted to, but it's great for once you've packed up your classroom and you don't have a lot of supplies out, you can do Minute to Win It games and they're guaranteed to keep your students engaged. If you're not familiar with Minute to Win It games, Minute to Win It was a game show on several years ago. I don't think it's on anymore, but it's a small task that your students have to complete in under a minute. If you go on YouTube and search Minute to Win It timer, you will find tons of them. It is a must when you are playing. You have to use the timer, but you guys can go on Pinterest, type in Minute to Win It games, and you will find endless possibilities. One of my favorite games to play with my kids is called Cookie Face. So basically they're gonna lean their head back and they start with a cookie up on their forehead and they can't touch it, but they have to like move their face and try to move it down to their mouth and like catch it in their mouth without it sliding off and falling on the floor. It is hysterical to watch your kids do this, just the faces that they make. It's so much fun. I always make sure that I do it with my class. I'll actually insert a video of me doing it with my class from last year.
Get your phone ready!
Like I said, that game is so much fun. Your kids are guaranteed to love it. Do make sure though that you have backup cookies because I guarantee you several of your kids are gonna have them fall on the floor. Another game that I really like is called Suck It Up. All you need are 2 bowls, some M&Ms, and a straw. Your students start with 10 M&Ms in the one bowl and they have to use the straw and try to suck up the M&Ms to hold it and put it over in the other bowl, and they have a minute to try to get all of their M&Ms from one bowl to the other. Another game I like is called A Bit Dicey. All you need are popsicle sticks and dice. Your students put a popsicle stick in their mouth and they hold it out and then they have to balance the dice on top of it. But make sure you use regular popsicle sticks because I was not very smart last year and I had my students using those colored ones which proceeded to turn their mouths all kinds of different colors. Number 4 is a paper airplane competition. So if you are anything like me, you will end up cleaning out your filing cabinet or your drawers at the end of the year and you will find stacks of paper that you are getting rid of. This is perfect for doing paper airplane competitions with your kids. I always split mine into groups and I give them certain parameters, like it has to fly for a certain amount of time or it has to be able to hold a certain amount of weight. You can definitely make it into like a STEM challenge and it's so engaging for your kids. They're guaranteed to love it. There is actually a freebie that I always use. I will link it for you down in the description. It's a good recording sheet for them. And I also have them use the website Fold and Fly and I'll link that for you down below as well. But I love that website because it gives them so many different ideas of how to make different airplanes. It gives them the difficulty, easy, medium, or hard. And when they click on it, it gives them step-by-step instructions with pictures and there's even a video to show them how to do it. This is especially perfect when it's beautiful weather outside. Your students can make their airplanes, go outside, do a trial run, come back in, fix them up. It will take pretty much all day, but your students will have a great time. Number 5 is how-to activities. These are especially great if you have to quote-unquote keep teaching until the last day of school. If you have to keep everything tied to academics, there are tons of writing extensions you can do with these. One of my favorites is how to blow a bubble. So you give your students each a piece of gum, teach them how to blow a bubble because most kids, especially in 2nd grade, don't already know. And then they can do a writing activity to step-by-step explain to someone how to blow a bubble. Now, we are not allowed to chew gum in school. However, for a small activity like this, I don't mind letting my students have gum so long as it's okay with their parents and so long as they understand where and where not is okay to put it. You also can do how to make ice cream, and I think that's so much fun when you use like the milk and the rock salt. Teach your students how to put it in the bag and shake it to make ice cream, and again, they can do a writing extension as well. Number 6 is videos for next year's students. Now this does require a little bit of technology, but you could definitely use just your iPhone. You don't have to have a fancy camera or anything. Basically, your students would write out like words of advice to next year's students. They can explain your classroom rules and procedures to your next year's students. You can film them saying it, put it all together into a video, and then that gives you something to show your class the next year. Number 7 is a class DVD. Now this does require a little bit of planning ahead of time because if you don't have pictures and videos, you can't make a DVD. But personally, I am always taking pictures of my students. I I'm always filming them, so I have a ton of footage to pull from at the end of the year, and I collage it all together to make a memory DVD. Last year was my first year doing it, but this is what our DVD looked like. I just made the movie in iMovie, burned it to the DVDs, which I got off of Amazon, and then I designed the sticker and printed them out and stuck them to the DVDs. It was super, super simple. If you guys are interested, I could put together a small free ebook on how to create the DVD from start to finish. Now it would be in iMovie because I've used Windows Movie Maker, but it's been a really long time and I'm sure it's changed a lot, and I'm most familiar with iMovie. But if you guys are interested in that, just let me know. It's definitely something I could put together this summer. So last year we watched it in class, and then I gave each of my students a copy for part of their end of the year gift, and I had so many parents telling me like weeks later how much they loved it, how many times their student have watched it over the summer, and I definitely think it's worth the time and effort. Number 8 is read Last Day Blues. Unfortunately, I don't have my copy of the book with me because I left it at school, but I'll insert a picture of it up here. Last Day Blues is by Julie Dainberg. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. It is a tradition of mine. It is always the very last thing I do with my students before they leave on the last day of school. It is such a cute story and my students always love it. I will add it to my Amazon store if you guys are interested, and the link for that is always down in the description. Number 9 is a class auction. Even though you can't tell from my classroom, I swear I am the type of person who likes to purge and get rid of things, especially at the end of the school year, so I can have a fresh start in the fall. As I go through my room and I find things that I don't want, I put them aside in a pile, even if they're things that I wouldn't think anyone would want because it's basically trash. I promise you, your students will be interested. And then one of the last days of school, I will let my students do an auction so they can use any Panda Bucks or Class Dojo points that they have left over. They can buy the items from me and keep them and take them home so that I don't fill up my trash can. Number 10, movie day. If you watched my vlog from this past week, you know that Friday was video day. Partially for our summer countdown, but also partially to keep them occupied so I could clean up my classroom. However, I also do a movie day on the last day of school. Number 1, because my room is all packed up and I don't really have anything else that I can do with them anyway. And number 2, I love to spend the one-on-one time with them. So on the last day of school when we're watching the movie, I make sure that I'm not doing things in my room. I'm not cleaning, I'm not up at my desk. I'm sitting on the floor with my students, spending one-on-one time with them. We push all of the desks to the back of the room. I let them bring in blankets and pillows and towels, and I bring in extras for any of my kids that don't have them. And we have a ton of room to spread out, watch the movie together. I make sure I spend time with each student, and I just feel so happy. Like, I love spending that time with them, especially this year. Like, I have one boy who gets the humor that usually goes over the other kids' heads, so like he's laughing at the same time I am. And on Friday when they were watching Finding Nemo, I could not stop laughing at him laughing because it just made me so genuinely happy. So I love spending that time with my students one last time before they leave for the summer, and I just think it's a great way to end the school year. Okay, that's all I have for you guys. Those are my 10 fun but easy end of the year activities that you can try with your class. If you have any other activities that you have tried with your class that you love, please feel free to leave them down in the comments. This is also going to be my last Sunday video until the school year starts up again because I'm going to be starting my summer schedule of videos after next week. I'm going to be uploading 3 videos every week on Saturday, Tuesday, and Thursday. If you enjoyed this video and got some new ideas for your class, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. That really helps me out. It helps it to be able to reach more teachers. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already so you don't miss any future videos. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I love you all so much, and I will catch you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of this video and for supporting my YouTube channel. If you want to check out any of my older videos, you can use the 2 links right down here. If you want to subscribe to me so you don't miss any future videos, you can use the link right up here. In the description box, you will find links to all of my social media sites, my Teachers Pay Teacher store, and my Amazon store, and I will catch you guys in the next one.